So, hi everybody. This is Gifty from Baller Mom, and today's feature I have Denise Lowe, who is an education consultant with the Harris Brand Foundation, and I want to give her the opportunity to share the work that she's doing with Brian Harris and his organization, and the great program that they have going on, and what we can look forward to for 2022. So, without any further ado, Denise, welcome.
That's great. Thank you, Gifty. And thank you for all that you're doing for your community, because I was just thinking, we have two daughters and who played basketball. And I was thinking, back even 5-7 years ago, it would have been, nice to be connected with a community like this. So great for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
So yes, my name is Denise Lowe, and I am a student success coach and also educational consultant with the Harris Brand. And I'm also a retired high school teacher. I taught with the Waterloo Catholic Board for over 25 years. After I actually took an early retirement, and I wrote my book called The Fighter Within: Beating Life's Challenges One Day at a Time. I was pretty proud of that. And with that, I did some speaking to schools, to students in various schools in Southwestern Ontario. And then I was also just doing some student success coaching, kind of more one-to-one coaching. And then I came on with Brian and have been running some programs, which I'll talk about as well. So that's been great. Currently I live in Paris, Ontario.
Yeah.
I grew up in Kitchener-Waterloo, and I lived most of my married life. So I'm married to my husband, Derek. We have two daughters, as I said.
Yeah.
And we lived in Cambridge. So our girls played for the Cambridge Centaurs. And so it was, we're a baller family as well.
So you are a baller mom, of course.
That's right.
I like that.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
Yes. I also coached. I coached both of the girls' teams, and I coached at high school as well, basketball, as well as girls hockey. So
wow.
I kept busy.
You said you retired? Are you sure?
I retired from the school board, but I still keep, this is a new chapter of my life.
You'll have to keep active. I know it. We don't stay still.
That's right.
Life has to keep going on. And it's good because it seems like by ending one path of your career, you've also been able to continue and build another passion that you like, which is the book. So tell us about the book. Actually, like, how did you come up with the title, what it's about, and then where we can find it afterwards?
Okay, yeah, sure. I guess, honestly, I believe I was divinely inspired with the book. It just came out of some of my own hardships, difficulties. I wouldn't even call them hardships. It was adversity. Okay. And for myself, my daughters, and even some friends I've included. And basically, it's that we all go through something at some point in our lives. And it's a book on it's inspiration to just have the hope to keep going, know that you're not alone, and it's that we all have that fighter inside of us to keep going. Yep. Even if it, as the subtitle says, it's beating life's challenges one day at a time, and sometimes that's all we can do is just take it one day at a time. And so I was just kind of inspired to write it, and I wanted to do more with it. And that's why I did some motivational speaking, and now as well having the opportunity with the Harris Brand Foundation to run the program, which has been sparked by my book.
I love that. It's a good way of finding what your struggles were, how you overcome it, and then also using it to give back for those who are behind you, may have been going through it as well. Now, is the book target mainly for students or adults or anyone, regardless of what stages of life you're in?
That's correct. It's anyone at any stage. It's kind of I call it a quick read. It's not long. The chapters are very short, and actually at the end of each chapter there are reflection questions So in a sense, it's almost a little workbook in itself. And
I like that. I like
yeah,
that.
good. Thank you.
It's good to take a pause. It's good to read. And sometimes when you read and you at the end, you're like, oh my God, what did I get from this? But this is good that it guides you from chapter to chapter. So you're mindful of what the lessons are, what the stories are to continue that. That is good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna have to share where that book can be found.
Okay.
So that everybody can also look it up. I'm making like a hormone feature series book, recommended books, because I love
Oh, good.
everyone that talk to, I always find out what book, whether you've written or read, and just build that, library of knowledge.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. That's a great idea.
It's awesome. So it's the fire within, right? The
Fighter within.
fighter,
Yes.
which we all
Yes.
do, of
It's
course.
yes. It's just about that. And I write about it in the book. I was inspired as a young child by the Rocky movies, and
Oh,
just because he was such an underdog, and I've always been inspired by the underdog. And I know one of
mhm.
your questions later on is what or who inspires you, and that's one is just inspired by the underdog, and just people that are going through adversity and
Mhm.
still just keep going and keep going and keep going, and that's what this is all about. You just find the power and the fighter with inside of you.
I love that. I love it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. We all have it. And this is a good fight to have, especially when you have kids.
Yes,
You want to
yes.
tell them this is a good fight to keep. It's not a fight to, go against each other or somebody else, but it's good.
Yeah, no, it's just you against life, basically, and just keep moving forward.
I love that. Now you also said that your kids, your daughters play and you coached as well. Did you also play when you were younger? Well, we're still
So
young, but in your,
oh, thank you.
I don't know, we're all young.
So when I was younger, I come from a hockey family.
Okay.
So I'm one girl of three. I have three brothers, and but I played ringette because back when I was a young girl, they didn't have really girls hockey. But I got into ringette, and actually goalie is my position. But then as I got into high school, I actually found I didn't have the confidence, especially for basketball, because I was
Mhm.
short, and I just didn't have that confidence. So, but I still loved being part of the team,
Mhm.
and I found myself. I was manager of the women's or of the girls basketball team in high school, and then when I went to university at Lakehead, I was actually manager of the women's varsity team there as well. And so I got to partake in all of that, and that was a great experience.
You've been an athlete all your life.
Yes,
Oh
that's
my
right.
goodness.
It's totally in my blood.
I love that. I love it. Sorry. So I sent the invite to Brian thinking I was sending it to you, and he was just messaging, oh, did you want me to join them? No, we got it. We're good.
Okay, all right, good.
We're good. So you play a lot of sports. Regardless of what type of sport it is, that means that you still have that athletic, in the mentality, which of course has that fighter in you. With COVID, again, it's hard. That one day I wish I could take that question out of all of my discussion, but we're living in it. We're in this little circle bubble.
Yes.
We haven't popped it yet to get out and say, "Woo, freedom! This is how it looks like." Okay, how has that impacted you being part of the sports world? The ups and downs, the locked in, open, locked in, all of that. Like, speak from your perspective or your feelings towards that.
Mhm. Well, my younger daughter is actually still playing basketball. She's on the women's team at Niagara College.
Okay.
And I've seen it impact athletes because they can't get in their groove. They can't get in their rhythm because it's
Yep.
been, okay, we're going to start up. No, we're back in lockdown. Now we're going to start up. No, we're back in lockdown. And so it's been hard for them to keep the consistency in
Mm-hmm.
their game and in their performance. So I know that's been hard on athletes. And I think just even the social part, I mean, that's huge, right? Like
Yeah.
not being able to physically get together with your teammates. And even as a parent, I mean, we still want to go and cheer her on. And
Yep.
they had some preseason games back in September, October, but we couldn't go. It was live streamed. So
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Not
No,
the same.
no.
Yeah.
So
It's hard.
that's been hard, the social and just the consistency, I would say. But I would say, I guess the good, because I know in your question you said what's a positive from it,
Mhm.
what's a good part, and I guess I would have to say the technology, for athletes to be able to still get together with teammates. I know some coaches, in various sports and sports organizations still had like team meetings
Mhm.
online, whether it was once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever it was, to keep the cohesion together, and some did trainings online together,
Yep.
which was great. And even just technology. So as a parent, I could still watch a live stream game.
Exactly. We all
Yeah.
pivoted is the key word.
Yes, yes.
Pivot, like the two P's that's going
That's
on
right.
for the past 2 years. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh well, it's good. I'm glad that you're able to see the difference between the hardship, but also a little bit of the benefit aspect of it. At
Hmm.
least for us, we've appreciated it in some ways because we want to see the kids grow, like you become more
Yes.
day to day, seeing them more active and growing to who they are, as opposed to just being on the circle of schedule back and forth, back and forth.
Right, right.
So there's
Oh, that's
goods and
good to
bad on both sides.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
yes,
for
yeah.
sure. You talked a little bit about the book, which is awesome. But before we get a little bit more into detail, because like I said, I want to make sure that it's added to one of my recommended books, the Harris Brand Foundation.
Mhm.
Talk about it.
So I got connected with Brian back in, I guess, August,
Mhm.
and we just kind of found there was a lot that we could do together for the community and the student athletes that the Harris brand serves. So the Harris brand is basically a consulting company for student athletes,
Yep.
and just having that kind of that one-stop shop, as we say, to all the knowledge and information that they would need to pursue their dreams of getting into post-secondary, getting scholarships, basically just following their dreams as a student athlete.
Yep.
So we've got services such as the education. We've got tutoring, student success coaching. We've got a sports psychologist, nutritionist, a whole
You
gamut
have
of,
the chiropractor.
yes, yeah, of
Yeah.
professionals that are here to serve. So, and then on the other side, we also have, so we have the Harris Brand Sports Experience, and then we have the Harris Brand
Mhm.
Foundation,
Yes.
which is our charity that we help either disadvantaged students, at-risk students with scholarships
Mhm.
that we provide, and then the mentorship programs that we provide as well. So I'm actually new to the female mentorship team, and looking forward to getting started with that. And
Good,
then
good.
yeah,
We
yeah.
need more of that. We need more of
Hmm.
that. That's where
Yes,
the
and
fighter within comes in too, especially for females who get to a certain level, at a certain age. There's been so many studies done where the percentage sort of continuing the sports kind of go down a bit, and those who
right.
continue still have a little bit more struggle because of resources that are not readily available. So it's
Hmm.
great that you have that great mentorship for them, to keep them like just stay in their lane and continue with your goal.
Right, exactly. And we've also just started a STEM uh, program through the
Mhm.
Harris Brand Foundation. Actually, going back, speaking of the female mentorship program, we are starting and developing a male mentorship program as
Okay,
well. So
good, good.
that's something that's coming up, for
Yep,
sure.
we need that. We need both because each
Yes, that's
one
right.
has their path. And then there's a co-ed that could, at the end of the day, it's still for each individual student, regardless of how they identify. But you want to make sure that whatever their goal and purposes are, you guys are there to provide that service. And that's one great thing, because I talked to Brian a little bit some time ago in one of my seasons.
Mhm.
The great knowledge that he shares, like, oh my goodness, this is great. Where were you guys?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
you
right.
said, right? Easy. But again, thanks to technology, you can connect virtually. You
Hmm.
don't worry about getting on the bus or trying to beat the highway, to make it
Right,
to the meeting. You can still connect and feel, that face-to-face interaction to make it more personable, which I
right.
really I like.
Yes.
I like that. So What is the reason behind one of the programs that I know you're working on, which is the Student Success Program? Like it's one of the path that your um, HBF is working on, and I want to understand a little bit more about it because, like you said, you've mentioned so many different things that you're doing, but the success aspect of it, like what is it? How did it start? What's the story behind it, and where we can look forward to it?
Sure. So as a student success coach, and I worked in student success in the high school as well. And basically, it's developing skills and tools and tips that help students kind of not only just get through school academically, but but it's skills that they can use beyond. So skills they can use in sports, skills they can use in the workplace. It's sometimes also what we call those executive functioning skills. So things like time management and organization and
Speaking for yourself.
positive mindset, right?
Yeah.
So the program itself, I guess it came out of, again, a passion that I've had is just to continue with student success coaching or student success, and that's what it is really. We're coaching the kids to learn and develop these skills. It's the program we have. It's like a webinar series.
Okay.
And it's a 4-week program that goes through a whole gamut, whole toolbox, you could say, of things that students can use to help them be successful in the classroom and beyond.
Okay.
So things like positive, how to shift your mindset. So if you seem to be having a negative mindset, how do you shift that from negative to positive? Going into a test. Yeah. What kind of things are you saying to yourself, right?
Yes.
So, and the whole thing of preparing for a test. So we have things on study tips, test taking tips.
Wow.
Essay writing. So those are the academic things. But then we talk beyond. So I found that students were getting very overwhelmed, and especially student athletes getting overwhelmed because student athletes are busy, right? So they've got their school, they're probably involved in sports at school, and then they've got their club sports that they're involved in.
Yeah.
And so what I really try to do is teach students time management, and that's a weekly plan and putting it all in a weekly plan, color coding for certain things so that they can see life balance.
Yeah.
So all your, basketball practices and games are in green. All your school assignments are in blue. Time with friends and family are in pink, right? And
like
so,
cool.
Then you can see at a glance, is my life balanced, or am I spending too much time in one place or another? Okay. And then when they plug things in, then they find that there are pockets of time that they can study, or that they can review notes, or that they can, I don't know, spend time with a friend or whatever that is. But it just seems to ease the feeling of being overwhelmed. And I know my younger daughter, suffers with anxiety, and it really helps her as well. And any students that I've worked with, you just see this relief.
Yeah.
And it's like a big weight's come off of them, and they're looking at their week, and it's like, oh wow, like I do have time for this assignment and this test and everything, right?
And I think it helps the parents too, knowing that they have it in the way of managing that works best for them, as opposed to constantly, what do you have to do? What's on your schedule? What's going on? Because I get like that sometimes.
Oh, for sure. And that's another thing I try to work with the kids is responsibility, so that it takes that load off the parents who seem like they're nagging. They're like the homework police. Yep. and I try to, help the kids to taking more of that responsibility, so mom and dad don't have to keep nagging you. And so when I'm working one-on-one with kids too, and parents, and we're just a team working together, and that's another. So we have the 4-week webinar where you get a lot of things, and then if people want to take it beyond, I work with families one-to-one as well.
And when does this start, or has it already started?
It has basically already started. People can sign up. We've got a new session starting. I'm not even sure the date right now, but it will be up on our website, which we're just relaunching the website,
Okay.
which will be next week, and all the information will be on there.
I like that. I love the fact that you had the color code, because that color code is definitely me. I'm like that mom with the color
Right.
between
That's
the
right.
kids and two different activities. Like, it's color code, every color, and the
Yes.
reminder pops up differently. But I like that you've done it in a way that is meaningful to the student. It's not from a parent's perspective, but from a student athlete perspective, and that's good.
Yes.
Because if we're telling them what to do, it's different than having them put in as to what they have to do and be accountable for scheduling their own time in and activity. I like
Absolutely. Yeah. And it is something, because I also talk about empowering them.
that.
And this is something that empowers them, that they're in control. They can, I also talk about what's in our control, what's not in our control, and how we react to things that are not in our control. And, for example, reffing in a game. It's out of our control, but how do we react to it? Right?
Exactly. Just go, oh.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah. So sorry, where was I going with that? But yeah, it gives them a feeling of control for the most part. I mean, obviously they can't control certain things because they are still, kids and teenagers, but when they can, this is something that can help and empower them.
I like that. And then what I also want to find out is the age group that this is serving, or the grades that this is serving.
Sure.
Grade 5, grade 7. Who are the target audience?
Target audience is typically youngest as grade 7.
Okay.
And then all the way to post-secondary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grade 7 to post. I like that. So, and it's for all, male or female. You can start with the female and join it, but when the male starts, you're in there. And the resources in there is geared based on the grade that you're in, or is it generic for all?
It's pretty generic for all. Yes. Okay. And yeah, it's for anybody grade 7 to 12. And this is so it's not actually the Fighter Within is more the mentorship side.
Okay.
Student success is more the Harris Brand Sports Service side. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah. And then when it comes to parents, such as myself, who may need help themselves understanding, some of the resources and the curriculums that are in the school. I mean, I have a grade 9 that just started in the secondary school system. So if I'm not aware of what the processes are, selecting courses and things like that, and it's like, oh, do this, and then you can understand why they're struggling, because maybe you didn't get the right guidance to select the courses that fit them. So how does Harris Brand support that from a parent side of it, making sure that it's a team effort?
For as far as curriculum, I mean, we do have our tutoring. We have tutoring in every subject. Now, not necessarily that's helping the parent side, but tutoring is obviously helping the students, with
and it
that.
Helps the student, you help us.
Exactly. So if the parent, can't sit down and help the student with their math, which happens so often, at least then we've got the tutoring sides to help students with that, which takes a load off the parents, right?
Okay.
And then coaching, student success coaching, I help with course selection. If you have questions about course curriculum, like basically generic questions, if you're wondering about, how can my student go from a level 3 to a level 4? What can they do in their writing? These are questions that I help answer for parents.
Wow.
And I'm happy to do that.
Because I started here learning English as a second language, so I had to maneuver my way around English and sentence structure and all of that. And it was one I wish somebody would show me the proper way of doing it. And knowing that these resources are there now, it's amazing. It's great. Of course, great to technology, time evolves, but no student should have to struggle, and no parent should struggle if their child is in need of service. And having that tutoring office services, regardless of the subject, that's a bonus.
Yes, yes,
We didn't have
yes.
before. Yeah, I love that.
And something else, just speaking of like course selection, and something that I share with parents is, especially when you have a student in grade 10 selecting courses for grade 11, at that point, I usually sit down and let the family know that really what you want to start doing now is working backwards. So kind of look ahead to college courses or university courses that you're looking to take, and then look at the requirements, because then that might help you with course selection. Because if you don't want to get to grade 12 and say, oh, I want to apply to this college or university, but I needed grade 12 chemistry, and now I have to go back and take grade 11 in order to take grade 12. Right. So there's a big process to that, and I help parents and students through that.
I love that. Well, going through high school and like college, university was the same thing. Like, I mean, guidance counselors are there, but you do need additional support of somebody else, especially for student athletes, where you want to still play sport, but you also want to understand that you're not putting your academics, behind at the same time. Oh, this is great service that all of you guys are supporting and giving, and you understand it too, because you're living it with your children. So it's not like, well, maybe if you select this, that may work. It's like, no, this is the path that it will help you. It is where you're trying to go to. And it's kudos. I'm so like,
oh, good. And it helps knowing the school system. So I was in it for 25 years. I know guidance codes, course codes, and just so many different things. And I'm just so happy to share it with parents, just to help them through the process.
Yes, just for me, including the parents alone is an added bonus, because it indicates that you're not just focused on just a child, you're focused on it's a family. So the person signing up with you guys is a family. We come together. Yes, you're the main person we're supporting, but the parents are part of the whole unit as one, because when we are all on the same page, the goal is to have that student success, whatever that success might be, right?
Whatever that might be. That's right.
That leads me to the next question. How do you guys define success?
So I thought that was a great question, because I feel as well, success can be defined in many different ways, because success can mean different things for different people.
Yeah.
So success, and we can even see success in our failures.
Yes, we can.
Yes. So, but
sometimes we don't see it right away, but we see
it. But a lot of people don't see it that way, because and actually I talk about this in my book, because our society is always so focused on grades and the number, and you have to have a certain grade to get into college, university, and so that weighs heavy on not if I get below a certain number, I am a failure.
Yes.
Because that's the first chapter of my book, talks about failure and success. And so, and for some people who struggle with mental illness, depression, anxiety, those types of things, getting out of bed and taking a shower that day is a success, right? And so, so success is just a wide open. But at the Harris brand, we strive to provide knowledge. We feel that knowledge is power. And providing that information, because we know the process. And so by providing information in all areas for the students and their parents to get through the process, will help them be successful in wherever they want to go and whatever they want to do.
Wow. I like that, because it's not just one way, but it's diverse. You understand each student and their family, and then based on the path that they set, you guide them towards it, so that even if it means they have to take a shower twice in a day to go do that test, that's a success.
Right. Yes, for sure.
I like that. Well, my success today is I tried to make sure that I was on time, so I was like, Check.
That's right. And our success was we got this to work.
Exactly. Technical difficulties, but in the end, it worked out, which is awesome. I love that. Okay, and then for student athletes that are looking to register and sign up for these programs, I know you mentioned that the website is still in the works. What are or how are the other ways that they can still connect with you to make sure that they're part of for the next session that begins?
Okay, they can follow us on Instagram, so Hairsbrand Sports
Mhm.
or Hairsbrand Foundation, either one. Probably well, we'll share programs coming up
Both.
on both.
Yeah.
And I email info@hairsbrand.com
Mhm.
or me, Denise, at hairsbrand.com. And then the website, of course, is
Yep.
thehairsbrand.com.
So just go to search it and you can definitely find it. There is no way of missing out their name. And if
Right.
you're not sure, just message me myself and I can connect you to Denise and Brian and their team to make sure that whichever particular path that you're looking for, they can guide you on it. And you don't have to literally even live in any particular city here. You service all of Ontario. Is that correct?
You service anybody who has internet.
I like that. With a great bandwidth.
Yes. Yeah, no, because our I shouldn't say, yeah, for the programs, because the programs are webinars, so they're online. But you know, with our tutoring, we've got online tutoring as well, but you know, we hope to open it up to in person, and some of the other things as well, because we like to still go out and do presentations to different clubs, and we just still love that the connection, right? The human connection. So
Yeah.
it's always good, but definitely online.
Online, awesome. Just if you don't have Wi-Fi, just go to Tim Hortons. You'll get data there.
That's right. That's right.
Connect with them. Another thing that I want to get into is the book itself, which is the Fighter Within, because now you're working with students to work towards being successful and define it in the way that works best for them. Now, there's ups and downs, depending on, you know, everybody's path in life. And earlier you talked about your own way that you've gone through in your own personal life that made you, you know, become an author and write this book and started the whole speaking series aspect of it. So what are some of the fighting skills that you had to go through yourself in order to be able to overcome and realize, you know what, even if I get knocked down, I'm going to get back up?
Great question. Great question. I would say one skill was just determination, and just and keep going. Just that keep going, especially when it's hard.
Okay.
You know, you have to get through that obstacle, even though it's hard. Just keep going. And I think so. The big skill in that is mindset, and I do so much work around mindset because it's like the pivotal point for so much we do, and and especially for student athletes. It's important in school, relationships, their sport, life, everything.
Yeah.
So mindset is huge, and that was one thing even for myself, because I even, you know, kind of even said to myself at times, what am I doing? Am I an author? Like, why am I? How can I be doing this? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
you are.
so it's having the belief in yourself, but also the mindset of, and I teach kids as well those positive affirmations. You know, like, I am worthy. I should be doing this. I have lots to give. I have lots to share. And yeah, so just the determination, the will to keep going. Keeping your mindset in check, keeping it positive, and yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
That is, yeah. And then for the student athletes, though, how do you support them to making sure that their dreams? I know the success is part of it, but some of them have, you know, maybe their dreams, they can see themselves as to which school they want to go to and what they want to do. And some would be like, you know, I actually just like playing the sports, but my academic is not that great and I'm working on it. And it comes back to the mindset aspect of it. But how do you work with them, connecting both the life skills, the academic skills align with the sports? Because some of them may see themselves just an athlete and you're more than that, right? So when it comes to
mhm.
helping them internalize that fighter within them so that they can foresee where they're trying to go to, what are some of the skills that you work with the student athletes to make sure that we're all walking this path together?
Okay, so I think, and again, it goes back to like mindset,
Mhm.
and being able to shift it from negative to positive. Positive self-talk. I mean,
Ah,
that you can use that in, again, academics and sport and life.
yeah.
But positive self-talk, like I've often used what are you saying to yourself when you're going into a test? And
Mhm.
what are you
I
saying to
got this.
yourself? What are you saying to yourself when you're at the foul line?
Yeah.
Like it's all that positive self-talk. Another one is goal setting.
Mm.
Being able to set goals academically, and for sport and for life. And with goal setting, I usually use the analogy of, if you don't set a goal, it's like getting into your car, and just driving
Nowhere.
randomly nowhere.
Yeah.
But having that goal is like a GPS that's it's giving you a destination. So your goal is
Mhm.
giving you a destination, it's giving you a purpose, and then it's your why. And
Yeah.
I know that's talked about various, but you need to have a why. Why am I doing this? So even so, academically, I'll say to a student, okay, ultimately, what goal of a mark would you like to get in this course? So I
Mhm.
say 80%.
Ooh,
Okay, why? Well, I'd like to be on honor roll. Okay, great. Why else? Well, I know I need to have an 80 in order to get to college or
all that stuff.
university or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then even when they get to post-secondary, well, now I really need to have it or I'm kicked off the team.
Yes.
So academics are important, but
Yep.
it all goes back to just setting a goal. And then each time, so whenever they have a test that they have to
Mhm.
study for, whenever they have an assignment that they have to do, and I have them post their goal. Like you have to have that in front of you.
Ah,
Whether it's on
it's
your computer,
visual.
visual. So if it's on
Yep.
a mirror, on your nightstand, on the fridge, wherever, it needs to be a visual, because then when you're procrastinating or when you don't feel like studying, you have to look at that and say, oh yes, I need to get an 80, or I want to get an 80, so I better hit the books or whatever. So that's another
That's
biggie.
good. Know your
Hmm.
why, post your goal, and keep focused on that.
Keep
I like
focused on it. Yeah,
that. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, this is like
Another,
speaking to me. Don't worry, I'm
yeah.
taking notes myself.
Okay. Another little thing that I like to share with them is, actually, it's a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson,
Okay.
and that's another good one. And it's all about, it's doing the simple daily tasks consistently over time that gives you the results that you want. But sometimes they're so simple in the action that you don't think it even matters or that it makes a difference. But
Mhm.
actually, in actuality, it makes all the difference. So reviewing your notes for 10 or 15 minutes every night
Mhm.
makes a difference than having to cram for two
Yeah.
hours the day before a test. But if you're constantly refreshing your mind on what you did that day or that week, then it makes it easier when it comes to test time.
Yes.
So that's
That's a
another
good tip.
little,
That's
mhm,
a good tip. Review notes repetitively so you know. And if there's something that was sort of unclear, you can make a note, like go back and check with your teacher or your prof and say, hey, did I write it right? Did I get it wrong? Check with another
mhm,
classmate and see. But that's also good. It's another way of refer. That's great because mindset wise, if you do the same thing over and over, at some point it will stick in, right?
mhm.
And be like,
Yes, because
you can do
you're
everything today.
yeah, you're creating good habits, and
Yes.
that's what we want to do as well with the students. Is even with their doing their schedule for the week, got to
Mm-hmm.
keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, so then it becomes a good habit that
Becomes
that's what you're doing.
routine. It's not even tedious anymore. It's just
Right.
something that you do. Think of it, and you know you're gonna. I have this thing of not to-do list, but complete list. So even though I've written it,
Mm,
I make sure that it's done. So I'm not looking at what I'm going to do because I already wrote it. But I go
Right.
back and say check, check, check. So each day I'm like, okay, yep, done, done, done. And if it's not, it moves on to the next. So it's not fully done until it's checked. And it's great. Mind
That's
you,
good.
I verbally say it over and over to kids, but these
Yeah.
tools that you're giving me are also going to help me be able to be more mindful when I'm trying to help them out too. So this is
Good. Good.
also for the parents are going to watch later or listen later. You know, these are things that
Mhm.
we also have to be aware to check in ourselves first, because you can't show someone something to do until you're doing it yourself too. So these, like I said, these tips are just as for us as much as it is for the kids, for sure. And
Good.
I really
I'm
do.
glad.
All right. Another thing I wanted to find out from you then is, for those that are the struggle academically, obviously everybody has different levels, you know.
Mhm.
Yes, my goal is I want to get 80, I want to get an honor roll. But
Mhm.
there's one subject that doesn't always jive, you know, and
Mhm.
it's hard. You're gonna get different teachers, different professors who doesn't care if you're student athletes. Like, you didn't do the work, you lose a mark, whatever, like different things that they may go through. If that particular athlete or family approaches you and say, you know, this is what they're doing, they're really hard, they're trying hard, it's just not clicking.
Mhm.
What is some of the support that you provide them, or tips that you give them to be able to say, you know, sometimes we do have to fail or not do so great in some, but there's a
Mhm.
way to keep going so it doesn't sort of drain them down.
Right. So, and yeah, and that's a good point. Is that we all have subjects that we're better in than others.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be good at every single thing, and that's okay, because that just speaks to our strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some, that we just need to improve on and work harder at to get maybe just a pass.
Yep.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
um, but just using resources. So especially in the high school setting, can we talk high school more
Yeah.
particularly?
Yeah.
But just using some of the resources. So there's, you can get help. Go down. Usually, most high schools have a special ed, teachers that are
Teachers.
in
Yeah.
an area that you could just go and ask. Some places, I know at the school that I taught at, they had lunchtime math help.
Oh, okay.
So you would go to this. It was an assigned classroom. There were like 2 or 3 different math teachers in there,
Mm-hmm.
and they would just go around and help explain or re-explain concepts that students had trouble understanding. And
Wow.
sometimes when you get another teacher to explain it and they can explain it in a different way,
You get it.
then you can connect, right?
Yeah.
And or also getting, tutoring.
Yeah.
And sometimes that person can just explain it in a different way. So I guess my advice too is just to hang in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, with the fighter within, everybody goes through some struggles
Yeah.
in one way or another, and it doesn't define you.
I like that. Let me
I have no problem in telling my students that I failed grade 12 chemistry twice and had to take it in summer school. I had a I
You're
got a
brave.
I got a 38 in grade 11 physics in my first term, but then pulled off a 51. Physics wasn't my thing, right? But biology, I knew the human body I needed to know all the bones and muscles before, grade 11.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, you're right. There
So
is trends in different subjects and different interests. So you're right. Hang in there. But I like the fact that you said get used to the resources that are surrounding you, even if it's within the school, and if it's not within the school, reach out to you and your organization with the tutoring services as well too, to
yeah,
get that help. So the help is always there. Like I was saying, for me, there wasn't that much other than going to the library, and hopefully you can do a group work and teach each other. But now
right.
the internet and the resources are readily available. So
Yes,
utilize
yes.
that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Oh man.
and that's another one too, is classmates or friends. If
Yes.
you've got a friend in that class and they get it, and then
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes students feel embarrassed to ask for
Yeah.
help, and really, they shouldn't. It's just using your resources. It's a wise
Mm-hmm.
thing. You want to do that in life, is to use your resources, because
And yeah,
that's
it's right
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Use it. I like
that's
that
right.
too. I like a lot of stuff here.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Really good. And then round it off with any final words about the Fighter Within and the Success program. The whole idea of, what makes it full, like being part of the whole Harris brand foundation, like the togetherness of it. Like, I know you talked a little bit as to how you got involved with it, but the passion that you have for it, where do you see it going and how do you see it growing? Because with the pandemic, we realized, especially from the sports world, that it's business. And a lot of people got taken away from the humanity aspect of it. So knowing that there's an organization out there that actually pauses and take care of who you are mentally, physically, academically, athletically, everything, is great.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit more about just the combination between these two programs and why you're so passionate about it.
I guess I'm very, oh, and actually I don't even think I talked about the book, but I didn't talk about the Fighter Within program.
No.
If
So yes,
I can
let's
just
lead
add
into the
that in,
program then.
and then
Yep.
I'll talk about
Go
the
ahead.
passion.
Yep.
Okay. So the Fighter Within program, and there are a little bit of parallels between the two, but I see the Fighter Within program in helping those teens who are especially struggling through something. And teen years are pretty tough as it is. There's so much going on. I mean, just the chemical hormonal stuff that's going on in the brain alone.
Yes.
Just, emotions and, who am I, and trying to figure out where do I fit in, and what's my image, like, just there's so much, right? And so and then add in maybe stuff that's going on in the family or with other friendships or dating or whatever. And then academics and then athletics, and there's a lot going on. So for those that are just really struggling, the Fighter Within just goes through the different areas in our lives where we struggle. My older daughter is type 1 diabetic, and she was diagnosed when she was 5.
Wow.
And that girl, actually, she's the one that's on the front cover.
Okay. I thought it was your younger self.
No, that's my daughter, my older daughter. And just the challenges of that. Then, so on top of then being a teen and everything, right? So it looks at different aspects of our life as far as our physical, mental, relationships, facing failures and those sort of things. It looks at all of those and then takes us through. So how can I empower myself? How can I tap into that Fighter Within? And that's what this program is all about. And it goes through, again, it's a 5 weekly session series of
it's a group session or one-on-one?
It's a group session, and it's done kind of webinar format as well. So it's more directed to them, but then it has the self-reflection aspect as well. So
and when is that starting, or has it already started?
It hasn't already started, so that will be starting again soon. So same with stay tuned with Harris Brand, watch for posts. And so we've got the Student Success Program, the Fighter Within program, and actually I am working on one for parents, like just a one-off seminar kind of thing for parents. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yeah, we need that.
So how does this all come together? My passion is I have a huge heart and soft spot for teens, and especially those that are struggling. After teaching 25 years and you see the students in front of you, it's not about curriculum. It's about the kids and what they're going through, and they're coming through my classroom door with a whole load of baggage. And sometimes it's not about, is your homework done? It's, have you had a meal today? How are you? Have you had a meal? And so I want to help students gain self-confidence, help them know that they are loved and worthy,
Wow.
and just to be just to live their life to the fullest, and to
Just be, yeah,
thrive, right? And to thrive and not just survive. And
I have to be in your
so
class.
so that it is, it's that these programs and working with youth is just a true passion. And I wish I could reach more,
You
and
will.
hopefully,
You will.
some at some point I will. Yes.
Yeah,
So
you will.
yeah.
Like you said, it's there's always that wave of people that need that support. And sometimes there are those that need it. They would just sit out there and watch first and see how it
Yeah.
goes. But once
Yes.
it's
Yes.
like going through, it's like, oh, okay. And slowly they will come around. So definitely.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm gonna share this all over. So exactly.
Oh, good. Thank
Thank
you. I
you.
appreciate it.
Connect with you guys. Make sure they
Yes.
sign up, be part of it, and get into
Hmm.
who they are, not just being just an athlete or a parent of an athlete, but a parent
Hmm.
bringing whole human, literally. Like,
Exactly. That's what we're all about. At Hairbrand is the whole person, the holistic approach. Yeah.
yeah, great. Wow. So I think we touched on so many great things. I like
We
that.
did.
And some of the questions I try to put towards the end to lighten it up, and as if we haven't been lightened up
Yeah.
already. But you already mentioned some of your inspirations, but if you can just delve a little bit more, so who inspires you, what inspires you overall, not in any genre, any generic, who
Hmm.
inspires Denise Lowe?
My daughters. My
Okay.
daughters inspire me to be a better mom, a better person, and I just get inspired watching them grow into the young women that they are. They're 21 and going to be 23, and again, one that deals with type 1 diabetes on a
Every
daily
day.
basis. Oh boy,
Yeah.
one that struggles with anxiety, and they're just beautiful human beings that just fight through life, and they inspire me because they find a way to thrive, they find a way to help others, and keep their faith. And so
Similar
that's
to what you're doing, which is awesome.
so
Yes.
they are definitely my inspiration. If I was running a marathon and they were at the end of the line, that
Yeah. I would probably be there cheering. You'd be like, who was that yelling? It's me. Don't worry. Keep going. Oh, that's so beautiful. I like that. You know what? And I'm grateful that you had that love and support there. And they also had that love and support there to guide it, because I can see that through that is where the passion comes in to give back to others, because you see the need and the importance of that unity and that support, that ground love there. So
yes.
like you're in a great organization doing that. And for any other parents who are not sure, I need to get help for my kids, I need to do this,
Mhm.
definitely connect with Harris Branding. You don't
Yes,
have to live particularly in a specific location. Like we
that's
said,
right.
it's virtual.
Yeah.
As you can see, Denise is personable. She's approachable, will help you, understand you, and guide with you to make sure that you're on the same path, because she's a mother.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, like
Right.
it's just something you do. Yeah.
And we all are at the Harris Brand. I mean, we're all passionate. We all, want the best for youth,
Mhm.
and that's really where our passion is. So, mhm.
I like it. And then last question.
Thank you.
If you had just one superpower, because you're a fighter, you got a fighter in you, that one superpower, what would it be?
You know what? I think I had thought about that. Ah, yes. See, I knew what it was. I think if I had that one superpower, it would be to be able to shift someone's mindset from negative to positive.
Ooh, I like that.
Because
Like Doctor
I just,
Strange.
yeah, yeah,
I like that. Yeah, because I
yeah,
love Marvel comics. I love X-Men, all those superpowers. Like it's just
yeah,
so cool. So yeah,
yeah,
shift
yeah.
it.
So
It's
just,
a positive thing that you're doing. It's not like I'm not changing your mind to think rich or think thin or think big. Just positive
yeah,
thoughts. I like that.
positive thoughts.
Thank you. So I would like to end it there, but I also want to
Okay.
give you the last word. Anything that you would like to say, and then after that we will finish it. And for anybody else that is looking to get more information, I will post it, share, tag. They're available on my website under resources as well too.
Oh, great.
But last word to you, Denise.
Just as a last word, definitely a huge gratefulness to you and Gifty. You're wonderful, and again, keep doing what you're doing. And just a word to the student athletes as well is just keep being you. Don't be anybody else. They're already taken. Be you, and live your life to the fullest.
With that, thank you.